Welcome back to One Comic Book a Day, where we're covering Superboy issue 3 in the first story, Superboy's Hall of Fame. I did not just go double check if that is the correct title. You're just imagining things. This is a story that when I was reading my notes on it, I came to the conclusion that the review that I probably was going to do from those notes was pretty inane. The analysis was just plain bad. Shocking, I know, right? Look, sometimes they are inane because there's a lot of Superman stories that I'm doing very quickly, and a lot of them were pumped out very quickly, and this one is no exception. And in the end, I still don't really like this story, but I will appreciate it trying to do something more than what the generic or general Superman or Superboy story was doing in the Golden Age. It has a little more to say. It doesn't do a great job getting to what it's saying, but it does have a little more to say. Superboy, well, Clark in this instance, not yet actually in his Superboy garb, so we should probably call him Clark, is at a museum with some friends where they see 3 different exhibits celebrating a kid from history who did something great. All 3 of these stories, one being the child who stuck his finger into a dike to stop the flooding, the story of Casablanca, not the movie, a kid named Casablanca who saved a bunch of people on a ship according to a poem. It's sort of a famous poem. It would have probably been read more at that time. And finally, the son of William Tell. All the kids don't believe in these stories that a kid did something heroic, so Superboy is going to mess with the time stream to go prove that they're all real. Oh dear. I know it's just kind of funny to bring up how Superboy just kind of do whatever he wants to damn the consequences when it comes to time travel, but seriously, going back in time to prove all these things happened is horrifying. Here's the rub, and why my analysis was pretty terrible to begin with. All 3 of these stories are just legends. Like, if you look up the whole story about Casablanca, he didn't end up doing anything heroic, and he didn't survive. He died. His story got immortalized as this fantastical poem. Well, fantastical is too strong of a word, where it made the kid seem heroic. But history shows that that's not what really happened. It's actually a horror show where he just kind of existed on a boat that sunk. And of course, both William Tell's son and putting the finger in the dike are both just local legends. None of these really happened. And when I read this, I sort of complained about that. You know what? This is a Superboy comic. Superboy doesn't really exist. Does it really matter? None of this really happened. And of course, this then gets us into the whole 3 things problem of the Superboy story, where we just seem to be focusing on giving Superboy something to do rather than having something to particularly say or actual story to all this. You can take out all 3 action beats without really losing much of the exact story. And in each instance, I think it kind of takes away from what ends up being said in this comic by having Superboy actually help them out and be the one kind of responsible for their different feats they pulled off in history. They're less special that way. And it's definitely a problem they keep doing whenever Superboy goes back in time. No one's particularly special. It just turns out Superboy did all the work. Remember, the United States wouldn't exist without Superboy. We found that out like a week ago in these videos. But at the end, after he loses his proof because the photos got destroyed by the radium from time travel, he brings something back from each one, makes sort of a mural proving that all this happened. And it is pointed out that these kids were legends, kind of like the modern Superboy. They are essentially saying that Superboy is the modern legend, like these legends that kids had to look up to before. And that's quite good. How Superboy accomplishing all their feats for them undermines this. Like, you should have them be special to keep up the theme. Like, maybe if we had define those action beats from Superboy's point of view as these kids accomplish something mighty, this would have worked so much better, but it doesn't, and instead continues to feel like busy work. It doesn't even do a particularly good job at telling the legend to us, though I think they are expecting us to know the legend to begin with. But I like the idea of comparing Superboy to other myths and saying, like, well, this is the myth now. We just could have done this so much better. We just needed something stronger in the main part of the comic to get there, as if like a essay where each one of these 3 are a different paragraph showing your evidence. Instead, it just continues to show how great Superboy is without really telling an actual story. Like, imagine if your 3 bodies of those essays were just talking nonsensically without bringing up any sort of actual argument till the conclusion. That's a terrible essay. Okay, that is it from Superboy issue 3. Superboy's Hall of Fame. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon to get notifications when a new video goes up. I do this Monday through Friday, but Friday is Bat Friday. We cover a Batman story, either Detective Comics or Batman. And until next time, let's ponder the question, whatever did happen to the boy of tomorrow? And it's really depressing to find out about this Casablanca, because I was not familiar with this story when I actually looked it up to see if it was true. Because, man, is it a downer. Okay, have a great day.